welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, India's largest platform for entrepreneurs. Anything to do with any aspect of your business, we've got it covered here on the show. I'm Ajay Thakur, bringing you expert voices and opinions, talking about the way forward for small businesses and what you should do to keep in mind as far as business continuity is concerned. Let's dive right in and introduce our very special guest, someone who's joined us previously on the Leaders of Tomorrow and is very closely associated with us here on the show, Ajay Thakur of SME. Ajay, thank you so much for your time here on the show. And you're someone who's been previously associated with us here on the Leaders of Tomorrow, talking about your advice for small businesses, really addressing some of their concerns, and also helping them understand what possibly they should be doing differently, maybe when it comes to what the way forward is looking like. Before I go any further and really talk about some of the companies that we've seen and the primary market action. I want to understand 2020 and so far 21, now personally and professionally, what it's been like for you.
Thanks, Sunanda. It's a pleasure to be here once again. If you see 2020-21 financial year, it has started with a very bad note. We have seen suddenly the eruption of pandemic and people were just not knowing what is going to happen. And the capital market has reacted negatively to that. We have seen the market plunging to new low. And post May 2020, we have seen the market recovering, and this year was one of the best year as far as the capital market is concerned. We have seen a large number of issues both on the main board and the SME board coming, and a lot of funds have been raised by the companies in the various sectors. So as far as capital market is concerned, it was an extraordinary year, and we have seen a lot of wealth getting created. In fact, recently, BSE market capitalization has crossed $3 trillion. We have also seen largest number of investors added in last 1 year or so. The total number of investors registered on the BSE has crossed 70 million. This is the largest number ever seen in the history of the capital market. So many good things have happened as far as capital market is concerned. Investors are very happy. So as far as personal front is concerned, when the investors are happy, when the people surrounding you are happy, as far as wealth creation exercise is concerned, you also feel good. It gives you a feel good factor. Of course, last 3 to 4 months after the eruption of this second COVID wave, we have seen lots of casualties, and that has of course impacted all of us at personal front.
I'm looking at listing figures for 2020-21. This is, of course, on the mainframe. It was around 146. This is in line with what it was in the previous year at about 147. My question is, one would have presumed that economic activity, given that at least in the first wave, things had come to a standstill, manufacturing companies were not allowed to operate plants, offices, nothing was allowed to operate, would have seen perhaps some sort of, shying away really from the primary market action. Clearly, that's not been the case. How do you read this data? And also, can you give us the corresponding figures when it comes to the BSE?
So, what I really mean to say is this, that in last financial year, if you see the first 2 quarters, it was a strict lockdown. There was no activity at all. Market was just recovering. And once the lockdown got over, then in third and fourth quarter, we have seen a lot of companies rushing for listing. And in fact, the funds raised was much more than what we have seen in the last financial year or before that. So overall, you can say that number of companies was little less than 2019, but this 6 months can't be compared with the full financial year that we have seen in 1819 or 1920. So if we take this 6 months into consideration, it has been very productive year as far as the capital market is concerned, as far as the companies are concerned, both in the large board and also onto the SME board. On the SME board also, we have seen almost 20 SMEs getting listed, and 8 startups got listed on our startup platform. So, it has been an encouraging year for both large board and SME board, with all the limitations, with the pandemic, still people coming out of the socks, the businesses coming out of the socks, and we have seen a very good development happening onto the capital market.
What sectors has this action primarily been sort of restricted to, if any? Anything you can tell us?
Uh, on the main board, we have seen actions in both, initially when we talk about, we have seen a lot of action in a specialty chemicals company. Further, it became broad-based and we started seeing that companies from across the sector, even, we have seen the company like Nazara getting listed, which was a startup and a gaming company. So, it had slowly and slowly, financial market, we have seen the companies from all the sectors start company. And if you see the subscription, it was almost, we have never seen such subscription in last 5 to 10 years. Most of the companies got subscribed 30 to 40 times. So extraordinary response from the investors on the large board. On the SME board also, we have seen the market doing fairly well. SME IPO index have crossed 3,700, and it touched all-time high. The total market capitalization on the SME platform has touched 27,700 crores. So, both from main board and SME board perspective, I think the companies have done very well. In fact, let me also tell you that if we see the financial performance of these companies, their performance has been better than the last financial year. So third quarter and fourth quarter was very encouraging. There has been many fold jump in the businesses, and we have seen also these companies coming out with good margin.
We've all seen the data that the market cap of Indian companies grew fastest last year. How did you read this data, Mr. Thakur?
If you see, not only the auto sector but also the auto ancillary sectors have done very well. The metal companies have done very well. If you see the results of Tisco Steel Authority of India and those companies, they have done very well. The FMCG companies have done very well. So we have seen robustness in the businesses in all these sectors, especially in the manufacturing sectors we have seen. And these manufacturing sectors provide a lot of employment. So, of course, the third quarter and fourth quarter has been extraordinary, very well, very good for these companies. And therefore, you have seen the jump in the performance, the jump in the profitability of these companies. Not only that, one thing more I like to add is that because of this performance of these companies, we have seen the investors reposing faith in this company, and therefore the demand of the equities have gone up of this company, and the valuation has multiplied. So these are the reasons why we have seen the market capitalization of these companies growing manifold. Keeping in mind the way the market has fallen in the month of March. Post that, of course, the valuation of the company has been very good. It has grown very rapidly, and it has been also gained momentum because of their financial performance that got reflected in their results.
So when something is growing much faster than what it has done previously, there is always the concern that perhaps this is indicative of some sort of financial instability. Perhaps at least that's what economists are saying, that the pace at which we've seen this growth is not financially viable. How do you want to respond to this?
Economists might be saying that, but I think the government as well as central bank, that is Reserve Bank of India and SEBI, everyone is monitoring everything. Not only that, if you see the foreign fund inflow, it has been the highest over the years. We have highest forex reserve. We have touched $605 billion. But of course, the investors are looking to the companies, their financial performance, and according to that, they are going to decide that whether to invest in those companies or not. But I think the way the RBI has taken care of the liquidity in these tough times, the SEBI has relaxed the guidelines because of the lockdown. And the stock exchanges, the way they have managed the systems, the network, and the way seamlessly all the systems keep on going, and the stock exchange keep on running smoothly. I think these things have created a lot of faith in the minds of the investors, and because of which I think that investors might be investing into the companies which are listed onto the stock exchange.
Mr. Thakur, I have to take a very quick break on that note. We're back in just a second, though, after this commercial break. Welcome back. You are thus here on Leaders of Tomorrow Icons. I'm in conversation with the head of BSc SME in today's interview, Ajay Thakur. The credit gap for MSMEs is increasing over the past 5 years in 2021, being pegged at 240 million. I want your comments on this. How do you see this panning out?
So we need to understand, the MSME landscape. We have almost 63 million MSMEs in our country. And out of 63 million, let me tell you, 99% of these companies are into informal sector. They don't have, access to formal source of funding. So these are the regions, why the credit gap has widened. Of course, these companies require funds, especially the companies where the turnover is below 2 crores, because they qualify under the macro definition. And they are the companies which are really the macro companies. They require funds the most. They normally get disrupted. We need to reach to them. Now what has happened in last 5 7 10 years, or you can say in the last decade, there has been a lot of emphasis in digitization of the whole banking sector, the NBFC. I think fintech companies are best suited to reach to these macro companies which are in the last mile of the various cities and the villages and in the country. And they need to handhold, and they need to be provided funds so that they can grow their business. So I feel that with the rapid development of these fintech companies, the fund need of these macro and small enterprises will be taken care of, and the credit gap will further get reduced. At the same time, I will urge all the MSMEs to move themselves into the formal sector, work on their documentation paperwork so that they can go to this scheduled commercial bank or NBFC or this fintech company and give them their documents so that they can process their application very fast and provide them funds. So I think they require hand holding, but at the same time they have also to take the initiative to formalize themselves so that they can have access to funds from the formal sector of funding.
Look, another piece of data that I want to read out to you, Mr. Thakur, only 24% of the population I understand in India right now is financially literate. So at a time when everyone is saying, where do I raise funds? How do I raise funds? What's the easiest route, for me to do that? A lot of them are perhaps not going the formal credit route. They're perhaps looking at, the informal credit route, or perhaps looking at, money lenders, exorbitant rates, etc. How do you then, as an exchange, perhaps step in and advise small businesses to look at the primary markets, to look at listing as a way of fundraising? I do know that BSc, for instance, does a lot of these, investor camps, education camps, etc. But how are you taking that forward? And if you can talk to us about how perhaps you are addressing this gap when it comes to financial literacy.
Financial literacy is very important. Recent survey by SEBI has come out with the report that only 24% of the people in India are financially literate. But when it comes to equity market, I think it's much lesser than what we are talking about. As far as we are concerned, we have already done around 2,300 seminars before COVID. But in COVID era also, we have done almost 200 webinars. Every alternate day we are doing various events with various industrial bodies so that we can, make these promoters aware about the benefits of listing. I think slowly it is going to the minds of the promoters. They are trying to understand the things properly, but still it is very difficult many of the times to convince them to get listed. If you can see that after meeting 35,000 to 36,000 promoters, only 550 companies got listed onto the stock exchange. So there is a need to continuously do the awareness program so that more and more SMEs across the country should start thinking of getting themselves listed, because only depending on debt funding is not going to serve any purpose or bring growth into their company. It's also the equity which is very important factor which can accelerate their growth. So we are doing this awareness program, and I'm quite sure that slowly we will find these SMEs accepting this concept, and they will come and get listed onto the stock exchange.
So let's also quickly address the question of valuations. I understand that of the companies which tapped the primary markets last year, valuations were in the range of about 100 odd crores. What kind of valuations could we perhaps look at in 2021?
Last year, we have got almost 21 companies listed onto the stock exchange. Both the stock exchanges together, I'm talking about. This year, if you talk about BSE, we are planning to do approximately 60 companies on our SME platform. Already we have got, we have given approval to 15 companies, and they are on the pipelines to open their IPO and, get listed on our SME platform. So our focus and, our target is much higher than what it was last year. Last year, because for 6 months we were unable to do anything, and most of the SMEs were unable to do the documentation process. So therefore, the pace got reduced. But this year we are expecting at least 60 SMEs to get listed on our SME platform, and we are working hard for it because we believe that only through equity these companies can grow fast and they can provide employment to the larger population of this country.
We're talking to you at a time when everyone is pointing to the fact that there is going to be a third wave of COVID, perhaps more deadly than the other that we've seen. My question to you, do you have any advice for small businesses which have already been reeling so much, economic activity being permitted in the second wave, but now we don't know what things are going to look like when and if the third wave hits us? Your advice for someone watching today's interview?
Well, I want the entrepreneurs. The first is that formalize yourself. If you are into informal sector, then move towards the formal sector so that you have the access to multiple funds. Whether you talk about debt funding from banks, or you talk from NBFC or from the fintech company, you can have access to these funds. Also, you can have access to the various initiatives that has been taken by the government of India. Those schemes are there, those are available, and that can give a lot of impetus to the growth of the company. Third, that it will help your company to get listed onto the stock exchange. The promoters need to understand that the finance is very important for the company. It is the backbone of the company. And unless and until they have a good mix and match of the finances, they can't grow fast. So they should leverage both debt and equity for their growth, and that's very important. Besides that, they should digitize and automate all the systems in their company, have best persons, best employees in their company, and all of them should be properly skilled. I think these things are very important that can help in the growth of the company. Government has taken various initiatives. The RBI has taken various initiatives. If you see, 3 lakh crore rupees has been extended till October 31, 2021. Besides that, even banks who will be lending the SMEs, those lending will be treated as priority sector lending. Even now, the 50,000 crore on tap lending has been made available for the companies which are manufacturing COVID related medicines to the hospitals, etc. Those companies which got impacted by COVID, they have been also given on tap loan facility of 15,000 crores. BSC has relaxed the eligibility criteria of listing last year itself, whereby we have brought down the net tangible asset requirement from 3 crores to 1 crore. We have reduced the profitability track record also from 2 years to 1 year. So I think these measures have been taken both by the stock exchange, by RBI, by SEBI, and by Government of India. And this MSMEs should take advantage of these initiatives and move forward. I request all the MSMEs to think of getting listed onto the stock exchange. We will give them red carpet welcome.
All right, Ajay, thank you so much for your time here on the show.
Thank you.
Out of time on today's episode. If you have any feedback for us, do let us know. Our contact details coming up as we speak. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good night.